What's up, guys? Mr. SLIN here with another episode of SlinTalk discussing competitive 6v6 TF2. Today we are talking about invite for next season, season 23. There are 6 dead invite teams, maybe even 7 if you count Sal's Canal, which may be playing an intermediate, but 6 teams out of 9 is 2/3 of the team. That's a ton of movement there. I mean, I've heard of invite roster shuffles, but this is ridiculous. A lot of players moving around, so let's break it down. Let's talk about it. It's still in the off season. We got time, but I did want to bring it up with you guys. I'm in a hotel room here in Seattle. I'm here for PAX West. I left Thursday morning and I'm coming back Tuesday night, so it's about 5 days. So I apologize for the terrible webcam and the microphone setup that I have on this MacBook Pro, but we're doing the best we can. I want to keep making videos for you guys. So let's go through the teams here. Froyotech is number 1. They placed 3rd at I-58, which is a super disappointing performance by them. A lot of people, including myself, expected them to do a lot better, maybe at least top 2, if not winning the whole thing. But, you know, if we're completely honest, that was the weakest Froyotech roster that we've seen to date. And obviously, they're not that they're happy with their performance either. They're replacing a bunch of their players. So it looks like Muma is out, Tyler is out, and then likely 404 is out as well. And replacing them, it seemed like they're trying out Assassin on demo, Shade on Medic, and Blaze on Roamer. They're going to move Patty over to Scout, Banny to Pocket. So I think Free State's still on Scout. So that's a lot of movement there for that team. Clearly they're not satisfied with the results from last season, and they want to improve on that this season. So I really like the changes here because they're bringing back 2 of my favorite players in Blaze and Shade. And then, you know, Assassin is a up-and-coming demo man. I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do on that team. Moving on, the dead teams that I have here are Ronin, which it looks like a bunch of players there are going to Overwatch. Nursey's forming Luca Goers. Bird Noises is like maybe dead, maybe not dead. I'm hearing like right when the offseason hit, I heard that they were dead, but then there's some like rumors that they might be reforming something, so we're not quite sure. Running with Scissors was just announced that they are dead now, so that's really disappointing. Sinful Gaming, Aeonic, and Froyo Black. So those are the 6 teams that I'm counting as dead. Aeonic, let's start there. They were dead from the beginning of the season. Looks like Mousy is actually going to be reforming that team in some form with some of their players from last season, so that team is still going to be somewhat alive. Froyo Black is probably the biggest one that you guys have heard of. A lot of players there, really high level, and they're seeing a lot of veteran talent, and it looks like they're just straight up retiring. So with the exception of a couple players moving around to other teams, that team's basically dead there, and I'm really disappointed to hear that because, you know, if they would have played again, they would have been a shoo-in for top 4, but maybe they're just not as interested in playing again. Luca Goers, let's talk about that one real briefly. Nursey, it looks since Ronin is dead, Shark moving to Overwatch, and I think maybe Mela as well. The remaining players have to move around and do something else. So it looks like Nursey's going to reform Luca Goers, which is an invite team from previous seasons. Badonsky, Rando, and Yomps, it looks like those 3 players are going to be merging with EVL. That team looks superb. I'm expecting them to perform like at least top 3, maybe top 2, maybe even winning the whole thing. So I'm really stoked about that roster there. And yeah, with Bird Noises, it's really difficult to tell what's going on there because, like I said, it was rumored that they're dead, but they might be coming back. So we'll have to wait for more news on that one. There's about 4 days left in the ESCA registration, but that might get extended. So you're really looking at like a week and a half left in the off season. So we're going to be hearing more news in when that's over. But my best bet is that they're dead, but we'll see what actually happens. Running with Scissors is the one that I think a lot of people are disappointed about to hear. A lot of people who are in the scene, who are like a lot of invite players, are really disappointed because that team is a team of like friends that really like playing with each other. And it's really difficult to see a team like that fall apart like that. So Running with Scissors was sponsored by Champ GG, which is, again, a community website. So, they had a lot of things going for them. A lot of people like them. And I guess unless Deathy plays with Sky, then he's going to retire. And then Jarrett put up his looking thread. Sky put up her looking thread. And Evil Mr. Muffins, he was playing Scout last season, and it looks like he wants to play a projectile class instead. He likes to play Soldier and Demo Man. Man, there's so much movement there. And Mercusa, I don't know. There's so much going on there. I don't really know what's going to happen to those guys. It literally just got announced. So who's replacing them, right? So we talked about some of the movement teams within Invite. There's a lot of teams moving up from Intermediate. Obviously, my team from last season is moving up into Intermediate. Dead Babies Mad Guns. They replaced me with Cookie Jake, who played an Open last season. Really strong medic. The season before that season, though, he played with that team in Intermediate, placing, I believe, second. So I look forward to seeing what he can do there. Gosh, who else? Oh yeah, they're also moving Marmaduke Grills over to Pocket. Ooh, Marmaduke Grills, he like I, I can't say enough good things about him. Really good player. He was playing at Roamer last season because I believe he was just not comfortable playing Pocket in Intermediate. But now that he's in Invite, it's like, okay, back to Pocket, put Trip on Roamer. He has Roamer tendencies anyways. Perfect. So that team, I like their odds. Slamberg, I saw him scrimming with some of his teammates from last season. They placed third in Intermediate. And Slamberg is like Slamberg Soldier, Pelt Demo Man, I think Skis or like Ubi on Medic. And then I saw like Rolling scrimming with them. I saw like Nuck and I'm hoping maybe Kawa or something on Scout. So like I think there's a lot of potential there for them to perform well in Intermediate as well. The second place Intermediate team, Megawalk's team, I've literally heard nothing about them, and then Marmalade put up a looking thread, so I'm not sure if they're playing next season. Big question mark there. But yeah, so I talked about a bunch of teams. Let's talk about the state of Invite real quick. Oh, wait, before I forget that one, Sal's Canal. I talked to D-Flame just a moment ago, and D-Flame saying that Sal's Canal placed 8th place last season. So Aeonic was dead, and then Sal's Canal was there. They had like a 2-14 record. If anyone goes 2-14 and can make it the whole season, props to them, because that is rough. You're going to lose a lot of matches. You're going to go up against Froyotech and Ronin and all these other teams, and you're just going to get stomped. But D-Flame has a really good attitude of like getting better, and I think the issue they're having right now is they cannot find a scout and demo man to fill out their roster. It's hard to pick up players in that situation because you're not going to have an easy season. So a lot of people have this attitude of like, I'm not going to play an invite unless I'm going to get top 4 or have a chance at top 4. So when you're one of the weaker rosters in invite, it's a difficult decision. Like, do I play an invite? Do I play an intermediate next season? So they're still sorting that out. But yeah, let's talk about the state of invite. A lot of people will be worried because there's just a lot of players leaving the game. They're like, oh yeah, like I see Sugar leaving for Overwatch. I see a bunch of players like Muma playing Overwatch. What's going on with Overwatch and TF2? And to that, I have to say that I'm not really seeing Overwatch as the main problem with TF2. But like Overwatch has been out for 3 months now, and there's like 100K, 300K tournaments. It's a very similar game, a lot of esports potential. I just don't see that same movement there. They're just different games, and a lot of the people at the top end of TF2 are just not moving to Overwatch right now. If they were going to move to Overwatch, they've already done it like when the game released. So that movement is we're seeing the last of it now. The other thing people are worried about is this sort of idea of like brain drain, where like a lot of like high level TF2 talent is leaving the scene. What's going to happen to Invite? But you have to keep in mind that this happens fairly regularly, and it's happened many times in TF2's history, and TF2 has managed to like push through that brain drain and continue moving forward. And I truly believe this, as long as the top end of TF2, like the very tippy top end of TF2 stays around, that knowledge still somehow will get passed down. So like the worry with brain drain is that you have like a player who's like really good who leaves the game and he brings all this knowledge with him. He just leaves. You're not going to see any more of that talent ever again. And it's true. It's not like when you leave the game, you suddenly like pass all your knowledge out of your brain into like a mentee that you have, some sort of apprentice or something like that. That's not going to happen. It's just the knowledge is gone. But as long as you have that top end of TF2 to like model yourself after, right? So you see Fryotech doing like aero building, you see Nursey doing aero building, that's going to get passed down to intermediate. Intermediate players are going to start doing it, and then it's going to get passed down to open players, and open players are going to start doing it. So I think that there's no real like worry in that sense, like, oh, TF2's dead because all these players left. It's like, nah, there's always players to move up and replace them. And those players, because they're getting challenged, because you're playing against people so much better than you, you're just going to get pushed like really hard to just immediately start like picking up your game and being able to compete at that level. So Not really worried about it at all. Plus, in past seasons, there's always been this very large gap between the top end of invite and the bottom end of invite. That happens. Like even within invite at that level, there's still like gaps in gameplay. So like you're never gonna see an Aeonic take down a Froyo Tech. You're never gonna see Sal's Canal defeat Ronin. That just was never gonna happen. So there's always gonna be that gap there. I don't think it's a big problem at all. Obviously, there's a lot of movement, so there's a lot of opportunity for new players to move up the ranks. And with that, you'll be seeing sort of like a reverse trickle down, like intermediate players moving up to invite, open players moving up to intermediate. I think the biggest worry right now is going to be filling out the entire league and making sure there's enough open teams signed up for next season. Big ups to Kevin Espone and guys like that for like really trying to push forward and get teams signed up. And I'm looking forward to next season. I think it's going to be really exciting. So can't wait to see what you guys have in store. And when ESCI registration closes, we'll finally see the immediate rosters. But I did want to talk about what's going on in Invite right now. And man, there's so much going on. It's insane. Anyways, catch you guys tomorrow. Bye.